young girl was acting strangely nervous around her dad in the clinic's waiting area, and when the doctor took an X-ray, what he saw made him call 911 immediately. In the dim glow of a border town clinic, one ordinary evening shattered the illusion of safety and revealed the brutal truth that courage is not the absence of fear but the decision to act when every instinct screams to look away. Dr. Rafael Mendez, a seasoned internist with 12 years of healing the forgotten souls along the U.S.-Mexico border, had no idea that his late shift would transform him from a quiet physician into an unwilling hero in a real-life drama of exploitation, sacrifice, and redemption. This is the story of how one X-ray exposed dozens of drug pellets inside a terrified 12-year-old girl, how a father's desperate love clashed with cartel brutality, and how a single doctor's moral compass guided him through kidnapping, underground surgery, and a race against death itself. As we journey through this harrowing tale, we will uncover not just the facts of border healthcare crises, but also timeless lessons in compassion, the power of quiet observation, and the universal truth that one person's bravery can ripple far beyond a single life. Imagine walking into your workplace expecting routine cases only to face a crime that forces you to risk everything. That is exactly where Dr. Rafael stood when the father-daughter pair entered his understaffed clinic 15 miles from the border. The faded beige walls, buzzing fluorescent lights, and worn linoleum floors of El Camino Community Health Clinic mirrored the harsh realities of a dusty migrant town where transients and immigrants sought care under the constant shadow of danger. Nurse Carla, his trusted assistant for 3 years, had already sensed something was wrong. The father, Miguel Alvarez, clutched his daughter Lucia's wrist too tightly, spoke for her in a gruffly tone, meaning roughly and unfriendly, and refused even a simple cup of water. Lucia, pale and hunched, avoided eye contact and winced with every movement, her pink t-shirt hanging loosely on her small frame. Dr. Rafael, drawing from his deep experience in border health emergencies, chose not to turn them away despite the red flags. He understood the dark realities of exploitation in this region, where families fleeing poverty or violence sometimes became pawns in larger criminal networks, yet his oath as a doctor compelled him to help. As he examined her abdomen, the rigidity and distension told a story far darker than a simple stomach bug. The girl's whispered answers about eating only water the day before and her fearful glances toward the curtain painted a picture of control and pain. When the X-ray finally revealed dozens of uniform oval shapes packed throughout her gastrointestinal tract, one already leaking, Dr. Rafael's blood ran cold. These were drug pellets, a horrifying practice known as body packing where smugglers force victims, even children, to swallow sealed packages of cocaine or heroin to cross borders undetected because minors draw less suspicion from authorities. Historical records from the 1980s onward show this method evolved from adult couriers in South American cartels to the exploitation of children in modern trafficking rings, a grim reminder that human greed has always preyed on the vulnerable. In this moment, Dr. Rafael faced a philosophical crossroads. The ancient wisdom of do no harm from the Hippocratic oath now demanded he risk his own safety to save a child who had become a living container for poison. The English idiom, caught between a rock and a hard place, perfectly captures his dilemma: report the crime and potentially lose the girl to fleeing smugglers, or stay silent and let her die from overdose. Yet he chose action, dialing 911 with a steady voice while his heart raced. What would you do if your daily routine suddenly placed an innocent life in your hands, forcing you to weigh personal safety against the greater good? That single decision marked the beginning of a journey that would test every fiber of Dr. Rafael's character and teach us all that true heroism often begins in the quietest rooms. The X-ray images confirmed the nightmare. At least 3 dozen pellets, one ruptured and leaking toxins into Lucia's system, explained her elevated blood pressure, low oxygen, and agonizing pain. Dr. Rafael's mind raced through medical databases confirming this matched documented cases of child body packing, a tactic used by cartels because children face lighter legal consequences if caught and attract less scrutiny at checkpoints. He immediately recognized the danger. An overdose could kill Lucia within hours if the leaking package fully burst, flooding her bloodstream with lethal doses of narcotics. Nurse Carla, ever observant, had already noted the father's overprotective behavior and the girl's defensive posture, qualities that made her invaluable in this understaffed clinic where resources were stretched thin against the desert heat. As Miguel grew increasingly agitated and demanded only medicine without further tests, Dr. Raphael maintained professional calm while secretly ordering the radiology scan. The moment the digital images loaded on the screen, both doctor and technician leaned in with shock. The foreign bodies were unmistakable, uniform in size and density, clearly not natural. Dr. Raphael's voice stayed low and urgent as he instructed the transfer of files to his computer, his mind already formulating the call to police, while hiding his horror from Miguel pacing outside. This discovery connected to broader historical patterns of border healthcare crises, where clinics like El Camino have long served as unintended front lines in the war on drugs since the 1970s, when smuggling routes intensified. Philosophically, it echoed the teachings of ancient philosophers like Socrates, who urged questioning appearances to uncover truth, much as Dr. Raphael questioned this simple stomach bug story. In modern terms, this story holds powerful relevance for English learners worldwide. Words like gruffly, spoken in a rough, unfriendly manner, and the idiom hawk-like intensity, watching with sharp, unblinking focus, paint vivid pictures of tension, helping non-native speakers master descriptive language that brings real-life drama to life. Dr. Raphael's gut instinct, that something was very wrong, proved correct when he dialed 911, describing the child patient forced to ingest drug packages, the leaking pellet, and the handler still in the building. Police were dispatched immediately, but the situation escalated when Miguel noticed the staff's hushed conversation and bolted for the exit, dragging Lucia behind him. The elderly patient in the waiting room shouted in alarm, and Dr. Raphael gave chase with 2 male nurses, but Miguel shoved through the side door and forced the girl into a waiting car that screeched away into the night. 5 minutes later, cruisers arrived with flashing lights, and Officer Cruz took Dr. Raphael's statement, examining the printed X-ray with a grim expression. The officer explained the harsh reality of border crimes. These children are often seen as disposable couriers by cartels, and without clear IDs or photos, cases frequently go cold. Yet Dr. Raphael refused to accept defeat, providing every detail he could recall about height, clothing, and behavior. His frustration boiled over as he insisted they could not give up on a child in immediate danger. This chapter reveals the emotional development of Dr. Raphael from cautious professional to fierce advocate, showing us that universal wisdom lies in refusing to look away from suffering even when systems fail. The English phrase, stretched too thin, describes underfunded clinics and overwhelmed law enforcement, a concept that helps learners understand global challenges through storytelling. As the police left, Dr. Raphael returned to the examination room in silence. The image of Lucia's frightened face burned into his memory. What would you choose if helping one person meant standing against an entire system designed to make victims invisible? That question lingers as we move deeper into the night that would change everything. After the police departed, Dr. Raphael stayed behind to finish paperwork, his mind replaying every detail of the X-ray and Lucia's whispered plea not to take her. The parking lot was nearly empty when he approached his car, only to feel the cold metal of a gun barrel pressed against his back. Miguel had returned under the cover of darkness, demanding the doctor fix his daughter, who was now overdosing in the shadows. Dr. Raphael's medical training overrode his fear. He raised his hands slowly and complied, walking back into the clinic where Lucia lay motionless on the ground, her skin bluish and foam at her mouth. He unlocked the door, carried her inside, and began emergency treatment with gastric decontamination and 4 fluids, all while Miguel held the gun yet showed genuine terror for his child. This moment highlighted Miguel's complex character, a man trapped in the cartel's grip, forced to use his own daughter as a mule, yet willing to risk everything for her survival. Historical parallels exist in countless border stories from the 1990s onward, where family bonds clashed with criminal enterprises born from economic desperation and prohibition-era drug policies. Philosophically, it mirrored the universal wisdom of the lesser of two evils, as Dr. Raphael negotiated to save both lives without compromising his ethics. For English learners, the idiom plunging him into darkness, when the burlap sack was placed over his head, vividly illustrates sudden loss of control, while steeling himself means preparing mentally for hardship, phrases that enrich storytelling and real-world communication. The pair was taken to a hidden warehouse clinic where masked surgeons performed an illegal extraction of the remaining pellets from Lucia under anesthesia. Dr. Raphael, tied to a chair, witnessed the precise, practiced procedure that revealed this was not their first operation. When the scarred leader offered him a choice, join the operation or become a mule himself, Dr. Raphael's resolve hardened. He could never harm another child. Yet Miguel secretly slipped him a key and whispered instructions to save Lucia, revealing his own sacrificial love. This emotional development transformed Miguel from antagonist to tragic ally, teaching us that even those ensnared by darkness can choose light in the final hour. The chapter builds tension through vivid character moments, the surgeon's cold efficiency, the boy's terror as he was prepared for the same fate, and Dr. Raphael's quiet courage. Modern relevance shines in how learning English opens doors to understanding global issues like human trafficking, empowering individuals to advocate through clear communication and awareness campaigns. As the surgery proceeded, Dr. Raphael freed himself, locked the door, and followed Miguel's guidance to Lucia's room. A gunshot rang out, Miguel staging his own injury to protect the escape, creating the distraction needed for rescue. What does it mean to find humanity in the heart of evil, and how can one small act of kindness rewrite a story written by cruelty? That reflection carries us toward the dawn of justice. Police sirens pierced the night as tactical teams stormed the warehouse, securing the building and rescuing both Dr. Raphael and Lucia from room 15. The raid uncovered not only the illegal medical operation but nearly half a ton of packaged cocaine, leading to coordinated strikes on other cartel sites and valuable intelligence against the Alonso network. Dr. Raphael, giving his full statement at the station, chose his words carefully to honor Miguel's sacrifice without exposing the man's secret help. He described the struggle in the office as self-defense, protecting the father's final wish that his daughter receive a new life. Detective Sandoval, impressed by the doctor's composure, arranged a visit to the pediatric intensive care unit where Lucia lay recovering under guard. There, in the quiet hospital room, Dr. Raphael sat beside her bed, explaining how her father had chosen her future over his own freedom. Lucia's eyes filled with tears as she whispered that her father was not always bad but had been forced by the men who controlled them. This reunion encapsulated profound emotional development, from terror to tentative hope, from isolation to the promise of family. Historical elements remind us that border crises have roots in centuries of migration driven by conflict and opportunity, yet stories like this echo the resilience seen in post-World War II refugee narratives where strangers became saviors. Philosophically, it embodies the teaching that no one is beyond redemption, a universal truth found in literature from every culture, encouraging us to see potential for good even in broken systems. For English learners, advanced vocabulary like semiconscious, partially awake and aware, and the idiom burned into his memory, permanently remembered, add depth to personal storytelling, while ripple far beyond, illustrates how one life saved can inspire countless others. Dr. Raphael made a silent vow to honor Miguel's request, promising to care for Lucia and help her heal from trauma. As paramedics confirmed her stable condition and good prognosis thanks to the professional, though illegal, surgery, the doctor felt a renewed sense of purpose. The raid's success demonstrated how individual courage, combined with institutional response, can dismantle networks of exploitation that have plagued border regions for decades. Modern relevance connects directly to English learning. Mastering the language allows global citizens to read reports, share awareness on social media, and participate in international efforts against trafficking. Dr. Raphael's journey from clinic to warehouse to hospital illustrates that true wisdom lies not in avoiding danger, but in facing it with compassion and integrity. As Lucia drifted to sleep holding his hand, the weight of the night lifted, replaced by the quiet strength of chosen family. How far would you go to protect a stranger's future? And what small promise could you make today that might change someone's tomorrow forever? In the days and weeks that followed, Dr. Raphael's life settled into a new normal filled with legal proceedings, media whispers, and the profound responsibility of guardianship over Lucia. The rescue operation became a breakthrough against the cartel, yielding arrests and evidence that dismantled multiple smuggling routes, proving that one doctor's refusal to stay silent had far-reaching consequences. Lucia, now under protective care, began therapy to process her trauma, her pale face gradually regaining color as she learned to trust again. Dr. Raphael visited daily, sharing stories that blended medical facts with lessons of resilience, helping her see that survival is not just physical but emotional and spiritual. This final chapter weaves philosophical teaching with modern relevance, the universal wisdom that out of darkness comes light, drawn from historical examples like the Underground Railroad or modern anti-trafficking movements, shows how ordinary people become extraordinary through moral choice. For English learners around the world, this narrative serves as a masterclass. Phrases such as moral compass, internal sense of right and wrong, and the idiom stand on dangerous ground, facing risky situations, equip you to discuss complex global issues with confidence and clarity. The story's educational value extends beyond entertainment. It highlights how learning English fosters empathy across cultures, enabling viewers to engage with real-world problems like child exploitation through podcasts, articles, and advocacy. Dr. Raphael reflected on his oath as a physician, realizing that healing extends far beyond medicine to restoring dignity and hope. Miguel's fate remained a guarded secret, his self-inflicted wound and quiet sacrifice ensuring his daughter's freedom while he faced justice on his own terms. The elderly patient, the nurses, and even Officer Cruz each played small but vital roles, reminding us that heroism is often a collective effort wrapped in individual courage. As Dr. Raphael watched Lucia smile for the first time in weeks, he understood that his promise to Miguel had become his own life's new purpose, protecting the innocent and teaching the next generation that compassion is the strongest weapon against cruelty. This tale, rooted in the harsh realities of border healthcare, yet elevated by human connection, leaves us with enduring lessons. Never underestimate the power of one observant glance, one brave phone call, or one unwavering promise. In a world still grappling with trafficking and exploitation, stories like this inspire action and reflection. What legacy will your own choices create? And how might a single act of courage today echo through someone else's tomorrow, proving that even in the darkest clinic waiting room, hope can be born from the light of a simple X-ray? The end of this chapter is only the beginning of lives forever changed, inviting every viewer to carry these truths forward in their own journey of growth and humanity.